Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new podcast where today we're here back with episode 39 or episode 40, Jamie, of the Knowing Wheel podcast. I think we're on episode 39, I want to say, this week. But as always though, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, again, this one is going to be a bit of a weird hybrid one. Some of it you'll probably want to stick on YouTube for. The other bit you can probably, you know, put your phone down and get on with your day as well there. But today, yeah, obviously, if you want to go check this out on Spotify, though, we're going to keep plugging that link down below as well. You know, we're trying to slowly build up a following on Spotify, so you could help us get one step closer. That would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, of course, obviously, if you want to check out the F1 merch page as well, there will be links down below. Still, currently, the winter sale going on just under a month now until winter testing. So, you know, if you want some cool hats or a t-shirt or something like that to represent for your favourite F1 team in the new year, yeah, definitely click that link down below. You help me out as well and help support the channel and make these podcasts possible there. You know, Jamie's got some very high fees that I have to pay off each week as well.
I don't come cheap, so
he certainly doesn't. But yeah, before we dive into it though, Jamie, how are you getting on, mate?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, middle of exams, but we're getting through them.
Good.
Varying success rates, but it's all good. So
yeah, how many exams do you have then, out of interest?
I have 5, and I've done 3 of them. So
fair enough.
I've
so you
got
get
2 more
then
this week. Yeah,
and then you're all done, are you?
I'm done until May.
Until May. So next week then we'll jump back in. Jamie's going to be full of energy and all ready to go then. But yeah, like we said today though, as always, there will be timestamps linked down below. What we're going to do for this one, again, we're in the slump of the winter break. There isn't a huge amount going on in the world of real Formula 1. So we're going to dive in and we're going to do an F1 track tier list first of all. And then, of course, yeah, go through the little bits and pieces that we need to as well today. So as you can see on your screens, currently we have got an F1 2021 track tier list. Of course, this features every single track from the 2021 calendar and a couple of other ones that should have been on there. Looks at Albert Park, looks at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and everything like that. Looks at Marina Bay as well.
I noticed Turkey isn't on here because that was added late.
Yeah, Turkey isn't on here, on the other hand, which I hadn't actually noticed. So it was a good job you pointed that out as well, Jamie. But how do you want to jump into this then? Just sporadic? Do we want to go bottom to top like we often do?
I would just say
start with Abu Dhabi,
the order they're lined up or something.
They're in a bit of a weird order lined up. I was trying to make sense of that, and I couldn't work it out for the life of me. But that seems fair enough then. So we'll dive in first of all with Australia then, Jamie. Albert Park,
which has also had new changes to it this week.
Yes, yeah. We're going to touch on that later on. If you've already checked out the timestamps down below, if you're on YouTube, we will be talking about that in a minute.
I don't think it's fantastic as a track, but as a event, it's very good, if you get what I mean. So
now, let me just double check with you. This is not the F1 events tier list, is it? It's
not.
The F1 track tier list.
So, like, I'm glad Australia's got a race for sure. I'm glad it's a very good opener to the season because it's like it's always a nice way to start with all the fans there and everything, and a stupidly early start in the morning, obviously. For anyone in
Not
Europe.
for me. That's pretty much normal start time for me now. But yeah.
Yeah, but the track isn't brilliant for especially the new generation of cars. Although 2022, we'll see if that makes a difference. But or the new changes make a difference. You never know to the track. I would go BC borderline. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I really like Albert Park still. I got to be honest. I know I love it a lot more than you. I've always enjoyed sort of racing around the circuit as well on the F1 games. I would personally argue A/B.
Really?
So I think B is fair enough.
Okay,
The thing is with Albert Park as well, it's a high-speed street circuit. And it is a street circuit. Plus, I've been around it in real life.
Yep,
so
and you
I actually know what I'm
10 as
talking
well.
about. I did cut turn 10 because turn 10 actually isn't part of the track. Turn 10, sorry, isn't part of the normal road. It's actually a car park around turn 10. But yeah, I would argue B/A. So I think B, is that fair enough then? Somewhere in the middle? B, fair enough then. Right, Yas Marina then, Jamie. Now I've noticed this track map doesn't feature the new changes.
Yeah.
We are, however, going to talk about the new changes for this.
I think they were brilliant, the changes, personally. Like, it doesn't make it the best track on a calendar by any means, but compared to what it was, I think, especially the last sector changes, really helped. Just the flow like before this year just wasn't there.
Yes, yeah.
And now
I think
it seems way better to drive for the drivers at least. So
it was always impressive, wasn't it, as a track, the fact they spent like $1 bajillion on it, and it was still awful.
Built a hotel around and based the track around that, which is never the best way, I don't think.
No, well, this was the thing, wasn't it? It was always the age-old story down the back straight, where the track suddenly moves over to the left. It was for a car park.
Yeah.
They moved the track for a car park. That goes to show how just poorly motivated the Yas Marina circuit was. Completely agree. You know, the track changes were good had the race not been completely scripted. So it's got to go down in D tier. Yeah, the very best.
I would again put it around with the new changes. I like Turn 9 a lot as well, the different lines, especially F2 was really
what different lines in Formula 1 though?
Well, you're not in F1 as much, but the F2 cars and the slower cars take a lot of different lines through there. I would go somewhere around B and C again. It's not brilliant, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, I was going to argue B/C tier for this one. I think I would be more inclined still to put it in C at the moment.
Yeah,
Again, I just can't wrap my head around having that much money and building such an awful track. I think C tier is
the
where
changes
that place
to
belongs.
Getting rid of the first chicane was very good, and it also let Max Verstappen win the championship. So that raises it up, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it brings it down in line. So yeah. Right, I think this one again is quite polarizing for a lot of people. COTA, Jamie.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't know what I think about COTA, because the drivers love it, or seem to at least. I think that's slightly down to the fact that they love the American lifestyle that goes with it. This year was like, did they go? Yeah, this year they sold it out for the first time, didn't they? Like, it was definitely the biggest attendance ever. It's definitely the best F1 has done to break into America for sure, out of all of their attempts over the years. And it definitely belongs on the calendar, but there's just something about it that doesn't give worldy races.
The weird thing is as well with COTA, isn't it? Is even the good races are easily forgotten as well. But you can't help but feel if they changed one thing, and we don't know what that one thing would be, if they tweaked something, it could suddenly become like the race of the year.
Like the only really like banger race they've had there was 2015, I would say.
I'd argue this year was pretty good as well.
This year was pretty good, but it was sort of like more because of the championship. Like if it was just a random race where Hamilton had wrapped the championship up already, it would have been like interesting, but not that.
But he was still applying a lot of pressure right to the end. We saw Ferrari, McLaren battles, everything like that as well. It was another decent showing. I guess the other thing as well, isn't it, is battles don't tend to last very long at COTA either.
No, because it is quite easy to overtake, certainly since DRS. Well, it's always had DRS that circuit actually, so I don't know why I said that. But yeah, it's like you get the cars into their pace order and that just sort of stays as it is. But
run up to turn 1 is always pretty good as well.
And Hamilton can cheat there like he did in 2015 as well. So yeah, I would say B. I think it's better than the Yas Marina.
I was going to say B as well. I think that's completely fair enough. Ooh, a classic.
I can't wait to go back here. I mean, not that I've ever been anyway, but I can't wait for F1 to go back there. Suzuka, what a circuit.
Suzuka, yeah, what a track, but completely unsuitable for modern day Formula 1.
I wouldn't say completely, just mostly. I think for that reason it can't go in S. Because
no, don't get me wrong, a track with a huge amount of history though, and a lot of iconic corners, but it definitely feels now like one of those tracks that Formula 1 has kind of got too big for, doesn't it? As much as we hate to say it,
but the
it
drivers
desperately
love
needs.
It.
The drivers absolutely love it as well. It's definitely a driver's track. But yeah, really, unless you get a massive run out of 130R, I think what they'd have to do, to be honest, is tighten up Spoon. And that could open up a lot more.
Or tighten up turn 1 if it was actually like a braking zone.
That as well. Yeah, very, very difficult to do so, isn't it? Because again, Spoon and turn 1, there's not really a corner on Suzuka that isn't iconic, is there?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at that track map. Every corner is pretty iconic. Yeah. I guess the only other thing you could do is get rid of the Casio triangle.
Yeah. Or you could even you could smooth out the Degners and then allow it for more to run into the hairpin. That would be quite interesting.
But again, the Degners are iconic
as well.
That's so's the Casio triangle, though, isn't it?
Yeah, 989. That's all you need to say. But
yeah,
is it 89 or 88? I don't know.
89, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
89 because 90, of course, was
when he just
they
took
were
him out
different
of turn
teams.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it would go in A.
It's got to be
an
an A-tier circuit
it,
still.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's not quite S due to the
Yeah,
lack
so
of
much history does
great
it,
races.
Suzuka as well. And I think that's important, but it needs some change. Again, though, that being said, still a track with no room for error.
Yeah,
which is
that's
always
the
good.
fun thing.
Right. We go from an iconic track to Sochi. Finally delivered a good race this year, although it was because of the weather.
Mainly due to the weather, yeah. I think, keeping it short, Sochi has to be in the bottom tier. It's just horrendous.
Would we say it's that much worse than Abu Dhabi?
I think it's way worse than Abu Dhabi.
The run down into T1 has often given us a little bit of spice.
I mean, it's just predictable, isn't it? You qualify third and you're sorted.
Yeah, but I mean, we had that iconic shot this year, didn't we? Of 6 wide down in towards turn 1. Well, not quite 6 wide, but you know
it's
what
I don't know. It's given one good race in the whole time it's been on the calendar, and that was completely due to the weather.
Which is one more than Abu Dhabi.
No, that's not true.
What good race has Abu Dhabi given?
2016, 2021.
2016 again wasn't really a good race. 2021 wasn't really a good race.
Well, it was a good ending.
No, the thing is, you're giving Abu Dhabi points there because they got a lot of money and it's a championship decider.
But
actually, the races themselves.
You can't say Sochi is as good as Abu Dhabi. I would much rather watch an Abu Dhabi race than a Sochi race.
Because it's the championship. If Sochi was the champion, oh god, can you imagine a world where Sochi's the championship decider?
It's just not a good track. If there's going to be a D tier, Sochi has to be in it.
Yeah, fine, I suppose. I suppose that's fair enough. I was going to argue to put Yas Marina in there with it, but I'll allow it for now. Bahrain, then, Jamie. A track that we have to admit should, when you look at it on paper, probably not give that many brilliant races, but
it just does.
Often does the trick rather well.
Yeah, I love Bahrain. It's one of my tracks you look forward to most, just because, I don't know, the nature of the track. I guess the teams will know it so well now as well. It often
3 and 4 races, wasn't it, at one point?
It often gives ridiculously good races. I don't remember the last time Bahrain was terrible. Actually, 2020 wasn't great, but then they had Sakir the week after. But it's a very, very good track. I would say fully established as one of the best races of the season.
Yes, yeah.
So for that reason, it's probably got to go S or A, surely.
Yeah, I think A tier is fair enough for Bahrain, isn't it? And as well, of course, one of very few modern tracks that really does now feel a bit more like a classic, doesn't it?
Mm. You can almost, with a lot of the modern tracks, you're just sort of oh, this is quite interesting. But with Bahrain, you're you go there and you know you're going to get a good race.
Pretty much guarantee it, can't you? The same can be said then, Jamie. So I put Bahrain in A. Cool. I think that's fair enough. The same, I think, can definitely be said for Interlagos as well, can't it? Again, another track on paper that absolutely should deliver a snooze fest every year, but never does.
Yeah, there's just something about that run up the hill to the main straight. It's just ridiculous slipstream effect, isn't it? Basically.
High altitude as well, which helps. Or higher altitude.
You can always rely on Brazil to give a good race. It's especially recently when seasons have been decided by then and everyone's just there for a good time.
Yeah.
It definitely delivers a fun race every single time. So, yeah.
I think
A again, maybe. Interlagos has
it's
close to S.
I was really going to argue S there. I think never have I seen a track that fights so much that people want to see as the title decider again as Interlagos. It's just synonymous with great championship finishes, isn't it? Yeah. Surely Interlagos and Brazilian fans. There's no Brazilian on the grid at the moment. Yeah, but Brazilian fans are still.
And you got that iconic track walk with Ted Kravitz pulling out the British flag in 2008. Have you seen that?
The only year the Brazilians weren't up for Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, they love Hamilton.
They do genuinely love Hamilton. Exactly. But yeah. Exactly. No, I think I have seen that, all those years ago, though. Right. Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Oof. Next up, Jamie.
This is always not the best race, I don't think.
No, it's a bit of a... Again, like we always say, theoretically, you look at this track and think this should create brilliant racing. And unlike Interlagos, unlike Bahrain, doesn't really tend to, because it's too high up. You wonder if this was at sea level, what this track could do.
And also,
they need to just sink it.
If the stadium section wasn't so dreadful,
they could definitely change that up.
Like, because you get the whole... It's basically quite similar nature to Bahrain. You get one long straight, a braking zone, another long straight, a twisty bit in the middle.
Yeah.
But then the last stadium section just ruins the whole flow, and you've got to start from scratch.
You what it does. The stadium section completely gives me Catalonia final sector vibes. Yeah,
literally. Because you can't like keep the pressure on for multiple laps, because you get to the stadium section, it just resets your gap every time.
Pretty much.
Because you can't follow through there at all.
No. Now, would we think it would be better then if they went around the outside of the stadium, around the back, and it was just like a proper 180-degree corner?
Yeah, you could just do it like, give it some flow, basically. Yeah. Make it not really a braking zone, or not much of a braking zone.
I think that was how they used to run it all those years ago. It was obviously at the final the final corner, but it was just a lot more extended. And you basically just cut out that the bit that looks like it's cut out of the corner.
Yeah.
And made more complicated. But then again... you've never seen your driver win a championship at Mexico. There is some hype in that stadium.
It's a very small sample size of championships that have been won at Mexico, to be fair.
Yep.
Yeah, I think C would be fair for Mexico. It's not a circuit we massively look forward to, but it's okay.
Yeah, and I think that's fair for you to argue that when you consider it's basically the Verstappen show each year as well.
Like I basically know that Verstappen's going to do well every year. Probably like should have won 4 of the last 5 races. 4 of the last 4 if he wasn't an idiot in qualifying in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
right.
A C.
C for Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Let's get in then, Jamie. Marina Bay.
This is one I'm very much looking forward to going back there. I don't know. There's something about Singapore that I just really like.
It's so odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because again, this track doesn't really create any racing at all for the most part.
But it's always those... It's sort of like Monaco, but there is a chance of overtaking.
Yes.
So like when weird strategies happen, or I'm remembering back to like when who was it? Perez got stuck behind Sirotkin that year.
And then, just swiped him.
Yeah, and you actually like drivers... Whereas in Monaco, you get stuck behind a back marker, you're just stuck there.
Stay over, yeah.
At Singapore, when that sort of thing happens, it does give bold, aggressive moves that actually are possible. I think it's one of the other modern tracks with Bahrain that's really established itself in the calendar. Like, I don't see Singapore going away.
Not in the same way Bahrain has. Not in the same way Bahrain has.
Not quite, no. Surely. Bahrain gives way better racing. But Marina Bay is up there, definitely. Not for the racing.
Would you argue that?
I would say at least a B. There's
first
ever night race.
I was going to argue between B and C. Like, again, I love Marina Bay as a track, but you think that final sector is complete egg. You don't need that many chicanes in one sector of your lap.
It's useful for deliberately crashing, though.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, Marina Bay's certainly seen a lot of controversial incidents, hasn't it, over the years? Of course, 2008, 2 in 2008, Piquet, and of course Massa's fuel hose.
Forgetting to pull the hose out before leaving.
Yeah. 2017, again, of course.
Oh, yeah.
The GOAT race.
Verstappen takes out both Ferraris.
Yep, that is just a factual story of events rather than any speculation, apparently, according to Ferrari. And then, of course, Jolyon Palmer.
Oh, yeah.
Smashed in that race.
Hulk was getting a podium and then ran out of air. That was funny.
Hulk ran out of air, yep, as he would. I think... been a weird track as well, hasn't it? Because...
It has, for sure. 2008,
was it Red Bull had a gearbox failure because of all the static interference?
Oh, yeah, that was really weird.
We then had those odd 3 years, technically, in Mercedes 2014 to 16, where they just really struggled. They were able to mask the pace.
And rinsing Hamilton in 2016, yeah.
Yeah, but they always said, the car was nowhere near fast enough there for some reason, which they never quite worked out. It's an odd track.
I really like it.
So do I, but as a Formula 1 track, it's not perfect either.
Put it in B.
I think B is as high as I can willingly put it. Right. Temple of Speed.
Monza.
I
don't know what your opinion is going to be at Monza, since you're a British Hamilton/McLaren fan. I wouldn't say it's one of the best on the calendar.
Oh, Jamie.
Are you a big Monza fan?
It's gotta be S tier. You never, ever get a track like Monza built nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. That is completely true.
It's like, you think that even if you try to describe, like, if I said to you, Jamie, I'm going to build a Formula 1 race circuit, it's just a lot of straights with chicanes, you go, Matt, that's the worst idea in the world.
Yeah. It does always
Monza,
give really good
nothing
races.
like that will ever exist. The history behind it, closest ever finish in Formula 1.
Someone crossed the line upside down once at Monza.
That was Fittipaldi, one of the Fittipaldis. How many Fittipaldis have raced in F1? Kind of insane. Christian Fittipaldi, that was, wasn't it? Because he crashed into his teammate.
Next week, there's a tier list of Fittipaldis in F1.
Fittipaldi, it'll just be Emerson and then everyone else miles behind.
Yeah, I would say S then.
Monza's gotta be S.
Yeah.
Gotta be S.
I think in the modern, like, since 2014 regulations, it's not been
No,
massively
17
exciting.
to 21 hasn't been great. 14 to 16 still was.
Really?
Yeah.
14
Remember,
was
they
the
were
team
just
telling
slipstreamy
Rosberg to lock
boys.
up and
He didn't
give
tell him
Hamilton
to
the
lock
win.
up.
Yeah,
he
they
was
did.
awful. It was awful.
What happened? 15 was nothing happened.
15 was grid penalties.
Oh no, it wasn't. That was 17. Or it might have been as well. It usually is.
15 as well, I think, wasn't it?
Rosberg
Yeah.
was running second and then had engine failure. I remember that.
S tier in my book, then.
Mass's last ever podium at Monza.
Was that 2015?
2015. Oh no, maybe it was Brazil. I don't know. But yeah, never mind. Put it in S. It's a good track. I've been there. That was fun. When I had tickets.
Yeah, that's
booked.
very true, isn't it? It's the one Grand Prix circuit you've been to that I haven't.
Yeah, although I mean, I've probably been to. Have you been to Buckmore Park?
That's not a Grand Prix circuit.
Oh no, it's not. No. I have Lewis Hamilton has raced there, and I was definitely slower than him. But yeah, it was good. The old circuit was really cool. We went, like, I had tickets booked for 2020, and then, like, obviously I got cancelled. So we instead, on our Italian holiday in 2020, we just went to Monza instead, and it was empty.
Why not, eh?
Yeah, it was
If
good
you
fun.
could, you would. Right. A returning track to Formula 1. An old favourite that, again, a bit like Suzuka,
really isn't
completely
suitable.
not suitable for modern Formula 1 cars.
They've literally just put this track on the calendar for Verstappen.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fun to drive, and I've driven it on the game and stuff, and the drivers seem to enjoy it, but it's really not good.
No. It's surely, like, looking at it, got to go with Mexico. It's similar sort of story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just there's nowhere to overtake. You can't stay close enough.
But the atmosphere's good, so we'll stick it above D.
Unless we get a year where Verstappen isn't very good.
Imagine Verstappen, like, crashed out on lap 1. It would just empty.
Oh, yeah. No one would stay. No. Are we sticking it in C, aren't we?
I think C is fair, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
We love it. Get it in S. Make a new tier above S.
Yep, Belgium. I mean, again, we have to quickly say, last few years haven't been brilliant.
Have they not?
2021
didn't count.
was awful. 2020 was
average.
not a particularly brilliant race, because I can't really remember it. 2019 was a good race. Obviously, after all the
tragedy.
Disappointment and everything and tragedy that went on before the weekend. Charles Leclerc ended up winning the race by a smaller margin than he got pole.
Yeah.
That was an incredible lap. I mean, illegal engine, but it was still a brilliant
I mean, it wasn't
lap.
like 9/10 up in Sector 1, which is just a straight.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
sort of mad like that, wasn't it? But, yeah, 2018 as well. That was the
Wasn't
race
good.
we both
We
went to. It was
were
a
there.
snooze fest.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Hulk took out
again,
everyone
here
at that
comes
one.
Sebastian Vettel. Should have been yellow flagged already. 2017 again, I think, was
that was
pretty boring.
That
Wasn't
was
it?
a good one, wasn't it?
Was that a good one?
Yeah, Hamilton and Vettel, when Vettel should have overtaken him on Ultra Softs and didn't.
Yes, yeah.
Hamilton
But-
broke the pole record that weekend as well.
He did, didn't he? No, he matched
No,
it
he
that
didn't. He
weekend.
matched-
He broke it at Monte.
Yeah, he matched Schumacher. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has to go at S.
It's Spa is.
I don't
the
care about how good the
iconic
races
Formula
are.
1
When you go
track.
to Spa, you know anything can happen. It could be snowing on lap 1 and then sunny on lap 20.
Yeah.
Like, it's just ridiculously good. I'm hopefully going back this year.
Are you looking to go back this
yeah.
year? Are you? We're thinking about it. We're thinking about it still, but we don't know just yet. Yeah, I mean, Spa is an old school track. Obviously they made the changes from the old layout all those years ago, but it is certainly, and this is the thing, Spa, Interlagos and Monza have this in common, don't they? They have been able to keep up with Formula 1, and that's the most important thing about them. And Spa is, in my eyes, with the exception of the Nordschleife, the best race circuit in the world, never mind F1 track.
Yeah.
On to one then I think that's going to be a bit polarising. The Hungaro Ring, Jamie.
Am I wrong in thinking that you really like the Hungaro Ring? Or if I made that up?
Yes, you absolutely are wrong.
Right, okay, because I don't like it very much either.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, it weirdly gives decent races quite often.
For all the wrong reasons, though, again.
Yeah, but it's just not a good track.
No, exactly. If there's no chance of weather, it's going to be a snooze fest, isn't it, the Hungaro Ring?
Although Hamilton is ridiculously good around there.
Yes, so. Yeah, that's also very, very true. But again, obviously, you don't really remember a lot of those wins because they're not very memorable.
No, not at all.
Got to appreciate the historical significance of the Hungaro Ring.
Here's a fun fact. It's the second longest current streak of years in F1 in a row.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Maybe it's the most now.
Only behind Monza?
It's either Monza or Monaco. And if it's Monaco, it broke it because they weren't there in 2020.
Monza's been on the calendar every year, isn't it? It's so ridiculous, yeah. Again, another reason why Monza is S tier.
Yeah.
And like I said, you've got to appreciate the historic significance of the Hungaro Ring as well. Obviously, first race behind the Iron Curtain, all the way back. Yeah. Has had its iconic moments. Of course, I think the most famous one still, Piquet's opposite lock overtake on Senna down in towards Turn 1. You never get that in a modern Formula 1 car.
Not at all. Button's first win, Alonso's first
win, Alonso's first win.
Ocon's first win, worryingly.
Ocon's first win,
only
somehow.
win, sorry. And Kovalainen's only win.
Kovalainen's only win as well, yep. It's delivered some
It's randomly got history,
moments.
But it's not a very good track. I would say C at most.
I was going to argue C or B, just for the fact it has given us some pretty good races before. I'd struggle to put it below Marina Bay, surely.
Oh, that's true, actually, yeah.
I think, is B fair?
Yeah, I put it in B. It's got some history.
Fair enough. Right, again.
Oh, here we go.
Another one that's just got to be S, hasn't it? Yeah. The home of Formula 1, Silverstone. Iconic track.
Venue.
Incredible venue. One of the only tracks as well I can think of that's had a revamp that hasn't, probably, let's be honest, has made the track better.
It's made it so much better. Like, the amount of, overtakes or just battles we see down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands and Luffield, you obviously wouldn't get that in the old track at all. It was just a single file fest through that section.
And I'm just trying to look back. Can we think of a British Grand Prix that hasn't had an iconic moment in recent years? 2021, of course, was the accident. 2020, of course, we had Hamilton on three wheels. 2019, we had probably one of the best battles we saw in the turbo hybrid era between Leclerc and Verstappen. 2018, obviously, you had Kimi trying to kill Lewis at the start.
And Vettel's move on Bottas, give him his due. That was quality.
Yeah, that as well. That's very true. 2017.
All the punctures at the end.
2016.
Verstappen rinsing Rosberg in the wet. We hate to see it.
2015.
That was a wet one as well. Well, Williams won too, wasn't it? And
then the start. 2014.
Rosberg deserved to win and then got an engine failure. We hate to see it.
Yeah. Didn't deserve to win it, but still. 2013 was Seb's gearbox failure and punctures.
5 punctures, was it? There was one that they found after.
Yeah, it was mad, wasn't
2012, Webber and Alonso battle for the win. That was quality.
Yeah. 2011.
Vettel didn't win for one of the very few times that year.
Yeah, because who won that race?
Alonso won that.
It was Alonso, yeah. Alonso's only win of the year, wasn't it? Yeah, so every year we've come back to Silverstone since its remodel. Yeah, you can look even further back, can't you? It's just 2009, of course, was
Vettel's third ever F1 win.
Yeah, 2008, of course, was probably one of the most iconic races of Hamilton's career. Goated. Nick Heidfeld being goated as well. Yeah, I suppose you can add that in there. Yeah,
it's an incredible track.
07, Hamilton just suddenly pulling 3/10 out on everyone in Q3, his first ever home Grand Prix.
And then bottling the race to Raikkonen.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that. Yeah, Silverstone. I mean, I think we've just summed it up there. Silverstone is a top S tier. I think, the 4 we've got in S tier all absolutely deserve their place there, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Richard.
I was so going to say that, but I thought, no, I'm going to be sensible this week. Right. Paul Ricard then, Jamie.
Oh, it's awful. But it's
how
a testing
awful?
track, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree. 2021, like we always say, delivered us its first grid race in decades.
It shouldn't have if Mercedes covered off the undercut, but yeah.
Very true. Very true. How low do we place this track? Does it go
weirdly okay to drive, which is annoying.
I always enjoy racing it. Yeah. That's very true. Does it go B, or does it go with Hungary and Marina Bay, or does it go with...
I was C at most. I was going to borderline it onto D, but it's given us one good race, so we'll allow it. But give it C.
But then again, we put Sochi in D because of that.
Yeah, but Sochi's race was because of weather, which isn't the track.
That's very true.
Whereas Paul Ricard actually gave a natural good race.
Yeah, that's fair enough. C tier for old circuit Paul Ricard. Right. The Red Bull Ring.
I really like
an interesting one. I really like it. Mainly didn't like it as much as it was back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, the A1 ring, was that what it was called then?
Yeah.
It was really good.
Spot on.
Yeah, that Schumacher pole lap, can't remember what year, I think it was 01, was ridiculous. Where it was literally opposite lock into turn 3.
Yep.
If you've seen that. That's insane.
Real turn 3 or fake turn 3?
No, real, like turn 2, effectively.
So fake turn 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Verstappen wins every year since it came back, so that's good. It's an enjoyable race. I think we had that double header at the start of last year, at the start of 2020.
Yeah,
well,
and the double header this
good.
year.
Yeah, which it shouldn't have really been a double header.
It was a snooze fest, yeah.
Yeah. But it's certainly decent. I would go B, I think, for this one.
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere between A and B, doesn't it, I think? Red Bull Ring. Because, again, next year could deliver an absolute worldie. There's always the potential it could deliver a worldie of a race.
2016, one of the best races in underrated races in recent memory, I would say.
Very true. Very true. It
race.
Was, until Rosberg decided he forgot where fake turn 3 was.
Yeah, and it was especially good for the half a second that Hulk was running in P2.
Yep, I've already bottled it at the start.
I think A, actually. We've not got much in A.
I think bottom of A, it's probably fair, isn't it? Bottom of A. Ooh!
This would be an interesting one.
Circuit Shield Villeneuve, Jamie.
I feel like I'll whisper it, but I think it's a little bit overrated.
No, it's got. For me, I'm looking at that immediately. Going, it's got to be between S and A. It can't be any lower than.
I think A, yeah. But people, obviously, it is a good track, and I'll accept that. People will say it's always one of the best races of the season when you go there, which it just isn't.
A lot more in recent years, it's struggled, hasn't it? To be fair, but. Again, another track with a lot of iconic moments.
Yeah.
John Alesi's first win.
1997.
Wall of Champions, 97. And of course, the best race of probably our lives up to now.
You're going to say 07?
No.
Oh, no. What are you going to... Oh, 2011, of course.
2011!
Picking up Hamilton's first win.
Yeah, no, not quite. That was a crazy race, though.
Yeah, it was. And Nick Heidfeld being goated again. What a legend.
Yeah. Most podiums in both Formula 1 and Formula E without wins.
Really? He's never won an FE race either.
He holds the record. He almost won the very first Formula E race.
When was the last time he won, ever? It must
Probably
be like
2003.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? But yeah, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, though, again. A lot of iconic corners. Like we said, hasn't suited the modern Formula 1 cars, but I think we've said that about a lot of the best tracks.
The cars are bad. We can't blame the tracks, really.
Exactly. It's got to be at least top of A.
I think A, yeah. A's fair.
Fair enough. Right.
Saudi Arabia's not here. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I love Saudi.
Are we going to have to, add Jeddah in ourselves, are we? Right, are we going to talk about that before we forget about it, then?
Yeah, let's do Saudi now. I think it's top. It's a brilliant track, genuinely. Everyone looked at it and it's like, oh, it's terrible. We went there and every F2 race and the F1 race were all crazy. Obviously not S, but up there.
I was going to put it in B or A.
I think the drive, it's a street track that the average speed is 150 miles an hour and it's not just got a motorway straight like Baku. I think it's A-B borderline. It's right up there. I'm really excited to go back for
I'm
like
really surprised by this.
Why?
I
It's just
thought
a good
you weren't
track.
a massive fan of it. Yeah, but again, it's not got many... The only reason the race was so memorable is because it was just carnage.
Yeah, but if a track's going to lend itself to carnage, then fair play. Go for it.
Watch NASCAR.
Nah.
Right, I'd argue B for Saudi
I suppose it's only
Arabia
had
so
1
far.
year.
It's only had 1 year so far. It could be a snooze
Yeah.
fest for the next decade, and then you'll look like a moron.
Yeah,
Does
that's
that mean
true.
we also have to include Loadcell in this?
No, the sale is not coming back. Aren't they building a new one in Qatar?
Well, they're meant to be building a new one in Qatar, but I
Yeah,
think we'll
we-
be back at Loadcell once. I think that's a solid B tier circuit.
Yeah,
B or
it's
C.
it's a bike track, really, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, should we actually get back on that?
Yeah,
We've
let's go to
briefly...
Canada.
Yeah, Canada?
No, I've done Canada, sorry.
Let's go to
I'm
Baku.
going along.
Sorry,
You
Jamie.
haven't actually squared your screen, so I'm going along on my head.
Oh, sorry. Right.
Where Baku?
We're at Baku next. Again, another modern track. Often lends itself to drama,
Yeah.
but has given us, again, pretty much every year with the exception of the first one was a snooze, wasn't
Yeah.
it? 2016.
Yeah, and F2
But then-
or GP2 as it was then was carnage. So it was like, oh, F1 race is going to be class, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, it just was useless. But every year since then has been pretty memorable.
Yeah.
2017, of course, that mad battle for the podium
And
at the line.
Vettel driving into.
And
Hamilton.
Vettel completely losing his head. 2018, of course, Bottas's puncture.
Yeah, and the Red Bulls blowing each other up.
And the
Ricciardo's
Red Bulls
fault.
blowing each other up, yep. No, I can argue that. That's fair enough. 2019 was
Dead.
Kimi murdering
Nah, it was dead.
people. Oh, was that the race Hulkenberg bottled it?
No, Hulk.
That was
Wait,
2018.
That was he was. Yeah, I don't know what happened in 2019.
2019,
no
I know.
I know
was that
Bottas
the one-
won.
Was that the one Kimi? No, because that was 2018, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, Kimi was back in Alpha by then.
Yeah, 2019 was
2019 was dead. It was a
mediocre
Mercedes
race, wasn't
1-2
it?
when they were just dominating at the start of the season.
Yes, yeah. But again, a very, very interesting circuit.
Yeah.
We don't see it often on Formula 1 tracks anymore, but does still bring out a lot of errors in drivers just due to the nature of the
Yeah.
high speeds but the low speed corners.
And you've obviously got no margin for error. So yeah,
No,
they're going to make
very
mistakes.
true. But again, you don't see mistakes at Monaco very often.
But
It's
that's
mainly
they're not
because of the
actually
aero.
pushing. And like,
Okay.
well, I know you're in qualifying, obviously, but in the race, everyone just sort of drives around at a snail's pace at Monaco. Whereas
Hmm.
in Baku, you have to be pushing because cars can actually overtake you.
Yeah, very, very true.
I think Baku is solid. I don't think it's top.
I was looking between sort of A and B. I think
Yeah.
low A seems fair because it more often than not gives us a good race.
Yeah, it's definitely one you look forward to just for the potential carnage that might happen.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, here comes
Oh.
some absolute propaganda from you.
One of the most
This is
really
so-
you
this is the
could
most
go on
polarising
any
race.
tier list on YouTube and this would either be an S or D.
I love
you?
Monaco, and I don't care what people say about it.
So do I. But I think we've also got to accept the fact, Jamie, it's not a racetrack.
It's not a racetrack, it's an event.
Do we add a tier just for Monaco?
I mean, it's a one-off race of the year where like
It's a
everything's about
showcase
Saturday.
event, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely a showcase. Nothing happens on the Sunday at all. And like, yeah, it doesn't deserve to get dropped from the calendar at all. I think it should stay
Never.
forever. But
But there's
just,
got to be a way to make it work.
or just accept that it's an event.
It's Saturday. Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the problem, isn't it? We've sort of lost some of that Monaco magic because can you imagine living in like the early 90s watching Senna tear around there?
Yeah,
And everything
and just
like
the
that.
V12s and V10s just making the whole country like shatter.
Yes, yeah, it must have been. I mean, we've seen footage and things like that, but can't really, even if there's rain and things like that, it doesn't often create a particularly dramatic race. Again, a track that generates iconic moments because it's Monaco
Yeah,
more than anything else. And you can look back and say most years there are some iconic moments, but I really don't. Again,
Like,
it can't
just
really
to-
fit anywhere, can it?
just to get into context, this year I was watching it with some friends and we literally didn't notice it the race ended because we were just like chatting for like 40 until the end.
Yeah. It's you could really argue for it to go anywhere, couldn't you?
Yeah, either S or D or just put it in the middle. Like,
I think do we put it in the middle
yeah, I
because
think
it's
so.
Monaco?
Because we
don't
like it,
wanna-
but it's not good.
It's not a track at the end of the day.
No.
On to a venue then that should be a track, but is pretty much as dull as Monaco most years.
Oh, it's worse. I hate Spain. Get it out.
It's surely, is it going C or is it going D?
I think D. I literally, when the Spain race week happens, I just don't care.
No. Good for testing.
Yeah.
And, of course, the final sector, good so you know who's going to be quick at Monaco.
Yep.
But apart from that, it's been on the calendar far too long. Only still there because Fernando Alonso breeds.
And Carlos Sainz they love as well.
And Carlos Sainz now. Yep, that's also very true.
Had Sainz not been a thing, it definitely would have been gone by now.
No, exactly. And you sort of look at it and go, they could do something with it, but you just don't know what to make it a better circuit.
I think it has to go in D. It's just not a good track.
No, it's fair enough. It's fair enough, yeah. And again, you wonder if they use the moto layout through the final couple of corners.
Yeah, what difference would that
could
make?
do
We don't
with
know.
it. But we'll probably never know because it will get dropped before anything changes. Unfortunately, unless Alonso's still racing into his 50s. Right.
And now, what Spain could be if it was good.
Yes.
We've got Portimao.
Portimao. Again, I think for a lot of people, this was a track that I knew about before Formula 1. I'd loved before Formula 1. I'd driven it back on Race Room Racing Experience in 1990s DTM cars. That's how I fell in love with this place. A proper new but old school circuit.
Yeah, the elevation changes are so cool around this track.
Racing this year was pretty... to be fair, racing both years we've been here...
I don't think it was that bad. 2020 especially was a good race. 2021...
No, 2020 was a good race for about the first 5 laps.
Yeah, I think what helped is that the first 5 laps mixed everyone up, and then the rest of the race was everyone working out what order they should have been in.
Exactly.
And 2021 was decent, but it wasn't... Like, Verstappen had to basically mix it up with the Mercedes because the car wasn't big enough for that race. But I still enjoyed it, and it's better than Spain, so... B?
I think B, yeah, I think is fair enough for Portimao, isn't it? Could be a track with some iconic moments if you give it enough time. Again, like we said, the very first race there last year was pretty good. Of course, Hamilton took... Was it his record-breaking 92nd win there at 2020? I think it was, wasn't it?
It was either his equaling or breaking.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain it was breaking. At Germany, or did he equal it at Germany?
Oh, no, I think he equaled it at Germany.
Okay. Yeah, this back end of 2020, I can't remember the order of the races. It just all blurs into one.
It was all odd, wasn't it? Right. Final one then, Jamie.
Imola.
A
lot of history. Again, way too small for modern cars.
Yes, yeah. Hasn't really been able to keep up with the times. But again, like you said, a lot of history. This year's Grand Prix was fairly dramatic. It certainly had a lot of dramatic races in the past.
Again, sort of just for the weather, but it was a good race for sure.
Yep. Obviously, iconic battles, 2006.
Yeah. And 04, I want to say. Was 04 a dead one? I can't remember. Obviously, I was 4 years old then, so I don't actually know. But, yeah, I think we have to respect it. It's a decent track. I would say B/C.
I was going to say it's probably a B-tier circuit, isn't it? It's not really suitable for modern Formula 1 cars, but it's still that bit better than Mexico, Paul Ricard, Yas Marina and Zandvoort, surely. Yeah, I think B-tier is fair enough for Imola there. But a track, again, that can provide some drama, but steeped in history, so you can't slate it too much. I think we've done pretty well there, though, Jamie, for the most part.
I think we smashed it.
In S tier, Spa, Silverstone, Interlagos, Monza. In A tier, Canada, Suzuka, Bahrain, Austria and Baku. B tier, Albert Park, Kota, Portimao, the Hungaro Ring, Yas Marina, Monaco and Imola. C tier, Mexico, Paul Ricard, Yas Marina, Zandvoort. And then D tier, is Barcelona and Sochi. I think, looking at that, I can't see anything that's glaringly wrong, obviously, with the exception of Monaco being just odd.
Monaco doesn't fit into any of the categories.
No.
But I think we've done really well, yeah.
I think we've smashed that out of the park there. But yeah, anyway, let's dive in then to our quick little winter roundup for some more Formula 1 news. And we're back for more podcasting still, even though for you guys we never left. But anyway, yeah, let's dive in then, Jamie, after our fun little tier list to other news that's going on around the world of Formula 1. Of course, again, not a huge amount to talk about this week. First of all, though, I think we just we made a couple of mistakes last week, and we don't want to confuse anyone on this podcast.
Did we?
We did. We got a couple of the launch dates slightly wrong.
Oh no.
So just to re-clarify, Aston Martin are launching their car on the 10th of February. McLaren, obviously we confirmed late on breaking news last week in the podcast that they're going to be the 11th of February. Ferrari we did get right. That is the 17th of Feb. And then, of course, the next day, Mercedes confirmed they're going to be launching their car on the 18th of February. Mainly, I'm guessing, so Aston Martin can't copy it?
Yeah, I saw that picture. There's no chance Aston Martin can take pictures and make a car real quick because they're releasing first.
But, yeah, all of those are kind of exciting in their own way, aren't they? This is the thing. Yeah, I'll be intrigued to see what that... Mercedes have clearly...
I hear rumours they're going back to silver, which would be quite interesting.
No, that's not rumours, that's true.
Is that true?
They're meant to be going back to silver this year. Well, I think the big thing wasn't it? Is Mercedes and Hamilton sort of both said they don't want to just ditch the black paint scheme when Hamilton goes.
Yeah,
they
bad,
they're the silver arrows at the end of the year, aren't they? So I think it's don't get me wrong, I think those two black Mercedes, especially the 2020 car, will go down as an iconic car.
And the fact it was one of the best cars in history compared to the rest of the field.
One of the most dominant cars and the fastest F1 car of all time as well is super, super important. Speaking, though, of, teams trying to fire up, Alpine this week, Jamie, did their first fire up of the new engine. It's not a two-stroke motorbike engine, which is good.
And it didn't break down while they were firing it up.
No, apparently Alpine as well are finally going to the split turbo idea, which Mercedes have been doing now for almost a decade.
Are they still claiming 1,000 horsepower, or has that one gone away?
I think every team is
they probably
well over the 1,000 horsepower mark now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is real. I think, most of them, they reckon now, don't they? Between about 1,050 and 1,100 for most cars.
It's just insane, isn't it?
Which is kind of wild. But again, the current cars can kind of handle that sort of power as well, which is really, really good. Albert Park. I don't know if you've watched this little series on their YouTube channel, Jamie.
No, I haven't.
They haven't released footage yet because, of course, it is still getting repaved. Probably not as we speak because it's like 3 a.m. In Australia at the moment. But changes are coming along rather swiftly to Albert Park. A lot of locals are saying it's going to completely revolutionise the circuit. I'm now worried that we're going to build up a lot of hype and it's still going to be a snooze fest. But I like what they're doing with it.
I do like it. Like, it basically opens up that whole run from, like, turn 6 down to basically turn, 13. So it's basically all flat out from there. So hopefully we'll see some side-by-side running through that high-speed chicane, although I'll be very surprised with how narrow it is. Yeah. But yeah, it should basically be flat out now, that fast left-right from what we've seen. But yeah, it should be good, hopefully. I mean, it's always... We can't really complain about Australia because you've been started F1 for about 4 months. Although it isn't first this year, is it?
No.
Oh, no. Everyone's going to hate it because we've had Bahrain give us a good race and we go to Australia.
Yep, probably. This is going to be the downfall of the Australian Grand Prix, which is sad to see. It's a B-tier circuit. I heard it on a podcast once.
Those guys no wheel, so yeah.
Exactly. We've sort of got like a load of little bits of news to sort of go through this week, hence why we decided to do a track tier list as well. Mattia Binotto, Jamie, has been told 2022 will decide his future at Ferrari.
I mean, that kind of goes for all the team principals, really, doesn't it? If you don't deliver, you suddenly under the gun.
Not at Ferrari. Normally, so you don't deliver for one weekend and you're shot. Yeah. But
to be fair, Binotto was given a rough deal since he's been in charge.
Yeah.
But he's done okay. Like, obviously 2020 was dreadful, but he's steadied the ship a bit. And doing, 2021 was obviously a massive improvement. If they improve on that again, I don't see any reason why they'd get rid of him.
No,
but they kind of have to be winning or in the fight.
They've got to be fighting at the front, surely, this year, and properly at the front. The thing is with Ferrari as well, isn't it? They just need some stability for a few years.
Yeah,
you've got the driver lineup now that is more than capable of doing it. Just build a team and allow them to develop, but it's just not the Ferrari way.
Yeah.
And it's so worrying, isn't it? Ferrari are the reason Ferrari don't win more world titles, ultimately.
They're their own worst enemy, like, all the time.
But yeah, it's going to be a shame to see Harry Potter leave Ferrari at the end of next year.
Yeah, when Carlo Sainz has scored like 5 points all year.
Yeah, and Charles Leclerc still finishes behind him in the championship with 4 pole position and 2 points to his name.
Yep.
Dan Fallows, rather interestingly, going from Red Bull to Aston Martin.
Wasn't this kind of like assumed a while ago? Because he's not been working at Red Bull for a few months now.
No, that's very true.
Leave. So, I mean, I never stay that versed in which engineers are where. So, I'm sure it will make some difference. But, like, we saw Williams hire a load of old Mercedes guys back in, like, 16, 17, and it went nowhere. So,
yeah, Paddy Lowe was gone before the season began, which was not great. But, yeah, maybe there's a bit of potential there. You know, you think if he can bring in some sort of trickery, you know, maybe he's harvested Adrian Newey's brain. That basically is the key if you want to fight at the front of Formula 1. Ferrari should have thrown Adrian Newey like £300 million.
Yeah.
And just
because the fact he went to Red Bull when Red Bull was shocking.
But it was all that party vibe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the thing. And it was DC, actually, that got him to make the switch.
Yeah.
David Coulthard, is the key to all of Red Bull's success. And David Coulthard all alone. All that is massive
Give him the five championships to David Coulthard, I reckon.
Exactly. David Coulthard, our 5-time F1 champion. Still, again, we're going to have to mention this once more, but neither of us buy into it, do we? No. Apparently, even George Russell doesn't know if Hamilton's staying at Mercedes next year.
He will.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
No, exactly. And last but not least, for our Formula 1 news, though, Jamie, 9 years ago today, Hamilton signed for Mercedes. Well, isn't that a bit like going from Manchester United to West Ham?
Oh, what a clip that is. I mean, West Ham are above United now anyway, so...
Yep.
Yeah, it's such a long time. Hamilton's only driven for 2 teams in his whole career, which seems crazy to me when you look at, like, Carlos Sainz driven for about 6 already.
And the thing is, isn't it? It's kind of like odd when you think of Hamilton as well, because really he's always been a Mercedes driver as well.
Yeah.
He was just kind of with McLaren.
It's just McLaren were the Mercedes team, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a long time. He's had a lot of success, quite clearly.
Over 3,000 points, 6 world championships.
That's crazy.
Broke most Formula 1 records in the books.
Like, if you just counted his time at Mercedes, he's probably still right up there in terms of statistical history.
I think he's still got more... Yeah, he's got more wins than everyone else but Schumacher. More poles than anyone else still, I think.
Yeah.
And that's just with one team. Never mind the other team that he won a world title with as well. It's complete insanity from Lewis Hamilton there. But 9 years... no one would have thought that when he made the switch.
No. Like,
and the fact we've only ever seen McLaren win 1 race in that time as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's mad. Wasn't 1-2 though, so...
Yep.
Yeah, like, it's unprecedented to ever hear a driver staying with a team for 9 years. Like, at all. I doubt it's ever happened.
Schumacher, 96 to 2006.
Oh, yeah, that was 11 seasons, I guess, then, wasn't it?
Yep. It's, I think, the only one longer.
That must be
Stroll's going to do 30 years, isn't he?
I was thinking, how long was Massa? No, Massa wasn't that long at Ferrari.
No, Massa was only 03 to... Yeah. No, not even 03, sorry.
06 to 13.
Was it? Yeah, it was 06, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Ferrari they can. I mean, Charles Leclerc could be right up there. Max Verstappen could be right up there.
Verstappen will be, you'd imagine.
Verstappen probably will, but yeah, unless Mercedes somehow take him.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm not sure that'll ever happen, but you never know. But yeah, 9 years Hamilton at Mercedes. That is, I mean, basically the entire proper memory we have of Formula 1, isn't it?
Nah, I remember Canada 11. Give me some credit.
You remember bits of Canada 11, but it doesn't like it's not. It's difficult to describe, isn't it? But it'll be weird when this partnership does come to an end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Little bit of Formula 2 news as well, though, Jamie. Obviously, last week we went through, obviously, all of the new driver transfers, so I think it's only fair that we keep that up this week as well. Fred Vesti from F3 has confirmed he's joining ART in F2, the young Mercedes junior. Is he going to be with Mercedes soon?
He is a decent young driver. I do like that one.
Yep.
So we'll see if Hamilton does call it quits. You never know.
Could be getting the call up. Could be getting that call up. Talking of F3, I was about to say good F3 drivers, but this one definitely isn't. Amaury Cordeel has joined VAR this year, and if you're thinking who on earth's he, it's because he was awful in F3 last year.
Right. Well, there's about 30 drivers.
The reason he's gone there is because he's Dutch.
Right, and it's a Dutch team in orange.
Sorry, no, he's Belgish.
Belgian, yes.
Yeah.
Is he like on the border like Max or what?
So, he finished 23rd in F3 last year. Yeah. With a best result of...
He must have got a point or a couple of points.
No, he didn't.
Oh, wow.
His best result of the year was 11th.
Well, that's almost a point.
He had 11th, a 12th, and then a 16th.
Quality. Big stuff. Yeah. Don't really care. He will be nowhere near F1 in his entire life. So.
Nope. Apparently, I can't remember who said it, but apparently he's just going to be this year's Delader.
Nice.
So at least we've got that confirmed. And then last but not least of our F2 signings over the last 7 days, Marcus Armstrong has joined Hitech.
Yeah, that could be an interesting partnership.
I think that one theoretically could work rather well.
Yeah, Armstrong's a good driver as well. Like, I don't.
Yeah, had a rough year this year, didn't he?
Yeah, he did have a rough year, but then he was in the cursed ART second seat.
Yes, so. Yeah, and especially when you've got Teo Porcher in the other car.
Yeah,
you're never going to stand a chance, unfortunately.
Although he probably should be in Porcher since he's got like 5 years on him. But
yeah, but ART always
Armstrong
do that, don't they?
I don't think he's that old actually.
Was Armstrong even with ART? Are you sure about that? I didn't think that's right. I thought he was with Dams.
Oh yeah, he was ART first season, wasn't
he? Yeah, I thought he was with Dams. Let me just double check this.
Yes, he was. He was ART in his first season.
Right, okay, so you're just lying to try and...
Yeah, I am just lying.
Yeah, fair enough.
13th twice in a row, he's got to really step it up. But this
is the thing, isn't it? He looks like one of those drivers that should do really well and then like quietly doesn't.
Yeah. But like he always seems... I mean, he might make a championship fight this year, we never know. But Hitech should be a decent place. They're capable. They're decent people.
They've got a car that can win races, don't they?
Yeah.
Most importantly. And a team that can win races, of course, is the other big thing.
Yeah.
Broadening our horizons, though, ever so slightly. Daytona 24 this weekend. Very, very excited for that. Jamie, I'm sure you don't even know what that is.
I'm going to stay quiet for all this.
You're going to stay quiet? That I'm very much looking forward to. Sebastian Loeb came back last weekend in an absolute blast from the past and won the Monte Carlo rally. His teammate, co-driver, Isabel Galmiche, I've probably butchered her name, sorry, is the first female WRC
I saw that actually. That's
event
really cool.
winner since 1997. Best thing about her is the fact she's just a primary school maths teacher, from what I gathered.
Nice.
This is a part-time hobby. Imagine being able to, like, if someone asks you, go, yeah, no, I'm a teacher on Monday to Friday, and at the weekend I go around with this 9-time WRC champion reading out numbers to him.
Yeah.
What an absolute insane sort of lifestyle to have. Fair play to the pair of them. And Sebastian Loeb, 47 years old, has now tied the record for the most wins at Monte Carlo. Oldest ever stage winner, event winner, and championship leader in the WRC. And did a backflip on the podium because he can.
At 47?
At 47. He's also, I think a lot of people forget this, he was a gymnast for many years before he got into racing. He got into WRC, he got into rallying and racing, actually quite an old age. I think he was like 15 or 16. He was a gymnast before that. And he reckons, genuinely, he reckons obviously because of doing all that, his pedal work was better. That's how he managed to get into it.
I guess you have mad coordination and like flexibility and stuff, don't you? Which I'm sure helps when you're driving a car.
Exactly. Being flexible is the key in a raw rally car. And last, but certainly not least this week, Jamie, Formula 2 have brought out a qualifying format that requires a PhD to understand. Formula E, sorry. Even,
I don't care at all. I don't watch Formula E, so not a problem.
I'm trying to get back into it again this year, and this has really made me wonder whether I should or not, because they've had all this stuff about... They've now gone to Channel 4, but it's going to be on YouTube most of the time because Channel 4 have only got 16 different TV stations, and yet they still can't host a Formula E race on TV. But basically, the way qualifying works now in in Formula E, you're split into 2 groups. The top 4 from each group advance. Then you do a 1v1 against someone from the other group. The winner of that does another 1v1, and the winner of that goes into a final 1v1.
It's It's basically like the World Cup or the Euros. You're in
basically,
a group.
yeah.
That's stupid. Doing that every week.
But they're going to do that every weekend, and it's going to take like 4 hours probably.
That's craziness. Why don't you just have a qualifying session?
Yeah, exactly. Who goes first for these qualifying laps as well is going to have a huge disadvantage because of how dusty Formula E tracks are.
Yeah, it sounds like when you're a kid and you just make up random games with your mates.
Yeah. It's just gimmicks upon gimmicks in Formula E, and that's, I think, where I struggle with it a little bit more there. But yeah, I think that's going to round us out, though, Jamie, this week. Anything else from you to add?
I don't think so. That's going to be everything.
No. We'll be back next week then with maybe some more Formula 1 news. Maybe we'll do a track tier list. Probably won't do that again because we've just done it. That would be ridiculous. But yeah, we'll be back next week with more Knowing Wheel. Of course, we'll do a bit more of a winter rundown and see if anything, Hamilton confirms his retirement, and then we look like mugs for the last 2 weeks. Yep. But thank you all, as always, so much for watching / listening. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you subscribe or hit follow. I want to say a quick thank you for 36,000 subscribers as well. We're getting ever closer to 50k, which is, of course, my goal by the end of the year. But yeah, we'll be back very, very soon with more Knowing Wheel.